Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and potentially good night. It is I, your host, Yuri Magus. Oh boy. Oh boy. They did it, chat. They've exceeded expectations. Although I just think they've just flicked the button to activate multiplayer just because people are moaning. But we got a huge update today. What do you mean? 42.13, absolutely insane update. Such big patch notes, many change. We're going to read it all now. I'm just going to go straight through it. Those of you that are here are here. Those of you that are not are not. And I'm just going to read, we're just going to read the patch notes. There's a modder's guide, which I loaded up. I saw the first thing and I was like, oh, okay. And there's the modder's migration guide for all the new things that are out now in multiplayer and all that kind of jazz. So that's incredibly important, of course. As you know, as you'd expect, the multiplayer build is work in progress for stress testing. So basically, what they've done is they flicked the switch to activate multiplayer on the unstable branch, which people had already done in a mod, if I'm not mistaken, to ensure a smooth experience and simplify bug tracking and resolution. Please adhere to the following guidelines before joining a multiplayer session. Disable debug and mods, even climb ones. Disable ragdoll physics. But this is just for connecting to a multiplayer session. I mean, whether or not you need to do this for single player, maybe. Probably advisable to remove mods for single player and just to test them in single player before loading into an active game. We strongly recommend only playing in co-op or on whitelisted servers. We do not recommend having more than 20 player slots on your Deddy server for now. Okay, so optimization is something they're conscious of, probably. And then we got a bunch of new stuff. One of the things I already know about, which is insane, an insanely huge update, to be honest. But number one, improved target selection when aiming firearms. The system now prioritizes body parts, making the head the primary target, followed by the spine, pelvis, and other limbs. Means you can shoot off a zombie dick. Yeah, let's go. Or a friendly dick. Or an enemy dick. Or any other limb. Now all we need is detachable limbs and body parts, right? So boom, headshot, explodes the head. Boom, arm shot. Shoulder shot, you know. Inventory object interaction. This is huge. This is huge. This list is gonna be huge. Update items that can be equipped or unequipped while walking. Appropriate clothing and container items can be equipped while walking, such as hats, gloves, glasses, satchels, backpacks, etc. So basically, you can now unequip and re-equip masks, which means that Twist's Cure Well update is now officially in the game. If a character is walking while also performing the unequip action for a clothing or container item that cannot be worn while walking, then the unequip action will cancel. Okay. Added a new body location. Now this one is the one I saw. And I'm like, wow. New body location slot, satchel. Satchels, water bags, and cowboy canteens now all use the body location slot, satchel. Water bags and cowboy canteens previously used the ammo strap body location, which means that you can strap ammo and a water bag. Satchels previously used the backpack location, yeah. So now you can carry a backpack and a satchel. And have your hands free, by the way. Double-clicking on items in inventory should perform non-destructive actions if appropriate. Double-clicking on bandages now applies them to an injury. If there are multiple body parts that can benefit from being bandaged, then the body part that is inflicting the most current damage will be the one that is bandaged. That's insane, QOL. Double-clicking on literature and map items that are in the player's inventory will, if they are supposed to be readable by the player, will start reading the actions. Double-clicking on containers that don't have a body location or in-hand model will still equip them. How what hand is equipped is as follows. If the secondary hand is empty, then it is equipped in the secondary hand. Otherwise, if the primary hand is empty, then it is equipped in the primary hand. Otherwise, regardless of what is already in the secondary, it is equipped in the secondary. Lighters and walkie-talkies will be equipped and turned on when double-clicked while in the character's inventory. Double-clicking on items in the player's inventory can be activated, such as flashlights, and equip and activate if unequipped, or unequip and deactivate it in equipped. TJ, what do you mean? This is an insane list. It's an insane list. Double-clicking on unlit candles and hurricane lanterns in a player's inventory will, if the player has a lighting object, automatically light and equip the candle or lantern. Candles and hurricane lanterns aren't included with this as they don't work like flashlights, but if you double-click on them, they will light and automatically equip the candle or lantern. Double-clicking on boxes, bundles, cartons, etc. of each item in the player inventory will unpack them. Players will no longer start eating food items on double-click if the player is aware of them being hazardous to consume on account of them being burnt, rotten, dangerous, uncooked, and also uncooked. Or has poison that the player is aware of. See? Here we go. Okay, so what's this? Added icons to the destroy for fuel and light fire context menus. Wait a minute. They added the context menus back in. So there goes light my fire. Multiple items can be set unwanted or unset unwanted when selected. Change the loot window. Take same type text button to an image button. Change the loot window. Take same type text button to an image button. What did I say yesterday? What did I say yesterday about those fucking buttons? Images. Chat. Images to match the inventory window buttons. Move the loot window container title leftward since it overlapped the weight. Nice. Added a second button to the inventory window to transfer matching items to nearby containers. What? Context menu option will not be displayed for a drinkable item that is being used by an action. Items that can be turned off or on will have an on suffix in their display names where they are turned on. Items like flashlights will now turn off when not equipped. When an item is equipped from the hotbar, it's not a weapon. And it's not a weapon, it will be placed in the secondary slot. If the slot is already occupied and the primary slot is free, it will be equipped there. What? Added item icons to the add liquid from item context menu options. Tidied up RMC context menu. RMC. Many options are now moved into submenus and have icon. What did I say? What did I say about the context? Item tooltips were now displayed. Satchel slot changes alone is awesome, yeah. Satchels have their own slot, is huge, yeah. Item tooltips are now displayed for items in the fill context menu for water sources. Oh boy. That's huge undertaking right there. That's huge. There's a lot of QOL in that section, just in the item object inventory. Right. Building and crafting. Oh boy. Added more subcategories, recipe groups in the crafting menu. Fuck yeah. Can now shift plus click on an input or output to item to quickly search the exact type, plus can now search for fluid. Picking up and replacing input items for craft recipes behaves the same whether using right click or the crafting UI. Searching for recipes shows all recipes that have the same characters. Frozen food for evolved recipes now show or explain they cannot be used. Added a keybind under combat sharpen weapon that if pressed and the player has a sharpenable item in their primary hand and can sharpen it, the sharpened blade craft recipe will be performed on the sharpened item. Added code to handle battery-based power, radio power, similarly to drainable uses, including input flags so that craft recipes can handle inserting or removing batteries. Locked the crafting panel by default so it doesn't go away when you walk. I do that anyway. Added a show all recipe tick box in the handcraft panel. Removed the cheat recipe see all. Added a show all recipe tick box in the handcraft panel. So you know when you right click and you say show you show me recipes, you get a different window to the crafting panel. That's that. That's that. So it'll show you all recipes, even though you can't handcraft them. Moved plastering, wallpaper, and painting options to the build menu. Remove all above from right mouse button context menu. Oh, that's what that should say. RMB, not RMC. Got you. That's why I was like, RMC context menu? Okay, right mouse button context menu. Added tooltip to advise players of the move. More tooltips in the right mouse button context menu. Added new icons in the build menu. Added new trait. Motion sensitive. Motion sickness now occurs when moving both forward and backward with an exponential increase based on speed. Effects are doubled during skids or sharp turns. 25% sickness progression when off-roading. Motion sickness now affects all vehicle occupants, progressing 50% slower for the driver. Iron gut reduces progression by 30%. Weak stomach increases progression by 30%. Motion sensitive replaces poor passenger and is available in both single player and multiplayer trade costs. What? A new what? Seems good for Rat Race? Maybe. Atrom, it's like reload weapon for melee. That's a free 4 point for Rat Races, basically. Possibly, yeah. Possibly. Lighting. Disabled individual rooms being darkened. Entire buildings are still blacked out when cut away from a distance. Interesting. Barricades except metal sheets and curtains allow some light to pass through them, even when vision is blocked. Oh, what? That's huge. So when you close the curtains now to stop the zombies being able to see you, you actually get a little light in the room. That's huge. That's huge. Good morning, Abra. Vincenzo, be careful. Offer multiplayer but not compatible. I wouldn't say... I wouldn't say that multiplayer is compatible with existing saves. But you always back up your save anyway. We'll always back up our save anyway before we load into a new version. That's huge, by the way. Filter through. Added properties to control lighting wheel. Filter through closed curtains. Details for modders mappers. Light filter. RGB. Can change the light filter intensity. Light filter mix. That's huge. Morning, Mr. Gwench. Alright, now we're into general. Allow mods to fill registries by running plus how to update mods in... Yeah, okay. Added checks to see if clothing items are worn or equipped for clothes ripping recipes. Will be bypassed if the parent container of the item is a corpse. Excellent. Excellent. That's awesome. That means you can rip clothes from zombies. Again. Updated the right mouse button options to use the same icon as the debug button. Okay. Worn bandages now show if they become bloody. Worn clean bandage models will dynamically change to the body version if the bandage itself becomes bloody. Added new toy items. That's just like that health display. Added new toy items. Added quick tips displayed when loading a game. Interesting, and I want to see what those quick tips are. Adjusted vehicle physics so trailers twitch less. Nice. Emergency vehicles with radio will have automatic broadcast channel in presets. Ooh. Character info window trait tooltips now show the trait description in addition to the name. The escape and enter keys activate the back and next buttons in the sandbox option screen when creating a character. Updated icons for siphoning and adding fuel to a vehicle. Cool. Added an accessibility option to automatically mark locations on the world map when print media items are read. While we're reading this, I'm gonna go ahead and make some copies of our saves. Open a new tab. Open a new tab. 42MP now. 42MP now. 42MP now. Dude, 42 MP now. What do you mean? 42 MP now, bro. Two MP now. Backpacks will display their blood level on a scale of 1 to 10 when right-clicking on sinks for the washing option. Wound and zombie damage will not appear as clothing option categories in character creation when all clothing unlocked sandbox settings is disabled. The old legacy decorative corn tiles will be replaced with the new functional corn crop tiles. Add proper crop objects created in the world. Ooh! Added additional bit flags settings for climbable standalone walls to include non-fence type to allow walk to pathing to function with them. Oh. Okay. Added additional logic to walk to cursor. If an invalid square is selected, not a floor or an empty space, it will check for a valid square below up to the Z level limit. This allows traversing downstairs from higher elevations to lower. That's huge! Ah! That's huge! That's a massive QOL. Just slot it in there. Just slot it in there. Go from lower to higher elevation is not possible yet. Okay. That's understandable. Added check to prevent interacting with crates and containers directly through stairs. Interacting over the edge of a stair is still possible. Added additional logic to gamepad detection, blah, blah, blah. Added displaying labels when mousing over brochures and flyer icons in the in-game map. Restored the good color Halo text appearing above the character model when auto-learning crafting recipes. Added good color Halo text above the character model when growing season mechanics and generator recipes are auto-learned. Added non-perishable property to item scripts where appropriate. This property is a flag to explicitly say food item is intended to be non-perishable. Otherwise, it would be flagged during verify script item variable checks. Added days fresh and days totally rotten property to many natural items and products. Animations and models. Added tying animation, high, mid, and low for building workstations and items. Swapped out animation for building low, no tool-timed actions. Adjusted shove aim animation to screwdriver doesn't intersect with the head. Made eating muscle use eat small animation. I should be sleeping, but I'm not for obvious reasons. I scared him a bit this morning. I kind of did a little scream, and Tim thought I got hurt. Morning, Zatani. Cheers, dude. Cheers. Change drinking from cooking pot, so prop 2 animates like it's been drunk from. And added animation and prop when using a ripple comb. Changed filleting fish animation to use sliced food animation. Added new taking off herb rack animation. Recentered normal glasses as they were offset. Changed cowboy canteen to have no mask. Changed trouser mesh denim light.xml to use skinny jean texture and not the trouser model. Added blood clothing type neck to turtleneck item. Changed protection areas for hooded items. Added timed action to kiln recipes as a temporary fix. Added item models and for carved buckets of plaster and wallpaper paste. New mixed herbs sprites for drying racks. Made CD models slightly thicker to avoid Z-fighting. Balance. Here we go. Added a distance bonus for finding items further apart in foraging. The bonus is capped at 20 squares. This bonus is snapshot the instant an item begins to be revealed. XP bonuses for difficult finds, diminishing returns for low-level items will still apply. Ooh, XP has been removed from the pickup action while foraging. Only finds will grant... The scarred item option has now been removed. Updated force find now checks to place a new item when the maximum 2D distance traveled without a find increases. That's a big change to foraging. Save my rat race save. That's a big change to foraging, man. So what's that going to impact? That will, depending on how much XP they granted. But look, it says added a distance bonus for finding items further apart. So basically, this snapshot is. I'm trying to understand. The bonus is capped at 20 squares. This bonus is snapshot the instant an item begins to be revealed. XP bonuses for difficult finds, diminishing returns for low-level items will still apply. So if you find an item 20 square at a maximum of 20 squares from the last item that you found, you get a XP bonus. If it's a difficult item, you get an additional XP bonus. If it's a low-level item, you get less bonus. We'll have to workshop that one. Claustrophobic characters now gradually gain panic while inside a vehicle. Oh wow, wow. Smoking now reduces stress for non-smokers too. Smoking now reduces stress for non-smokers. Get ×2 stress release from them. Whoa. Players will no longer spawn with a pistol, magazines, and ammunition. Ah! Finally, former scout trait now grants 1 skill level in the fishing one. Hashtag save my rat race save. What's up, Lunatico? Just loads of unremovable objects. Yeah, more than non-discard. Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Well, so items that you don't discard. So the only reason to discard an item in the past really was to get the XP for the item without having to pick it up. Now you don't get XP for picking up or discarding, so you don't need to discard anymore. It looks like the foraging system has fundamentally changed, and how it applies XP. I'm hoping that it doesn't just apply the 4 XP and then you get 20 XP, because that's going to be that means that foraging will be despicable to level. Smuggle already did that. I already used to smoke the fence because the fence is stress. Yeah, so the smoking now, what it is, it looks like smoking reduces the same amount of stress as it used to for smokers, but now smokers get 2 times the relief from smoking if you're a smoker. The former scout trait now grants 1 skill level in fishing skill. The former scout trait now provides the make fishing rod, and make chum recipes in regard to granting survivalist recipes. Former scout, new MVP. Former scout, new MVP. Former scout, new MVP. Chamomile, honey, and mint boost flu recovery when added to a hot beverage. Hang on a minute. Added to a hot beverage? Added to a hot beverage? Added to a hot beverage? Jar of produce is now fresh for 30 days and can stay fresh for much longer if cooked. Food sickness now always reduces over time unless corpse sickness is actively accumulating. Corpse sickness accumulation will respect decaying corpse health impact setting. Cooked jars of preserved food, that's going to be interesting. Cooked jars of preserved food that spawn in the world will take as long to get stale or rotten as ones that are created by the player. Nice! No more instant spoiling jars in sheds. Large buckets will be consumed when building forges. Okay. Tile building will now check for valid squares before consuming inputs and not afterwards. Characters with short-sighted will again spawn with proper glasses. Dropping a held item or transferring an item from the ground to the player's hands is much faster. Opening an umbrella when equipped will keep it equipped in the same hand. Favorite bandages or rags can now be cleaned or disinfected. Awesome. Merged make jar of produce and make jar of row recipes. Non-thumpable window frames are now properly evaluated for the presence of windows before allowing scraping. Canned eggplant doesn't need to be cooked to be added to salads or anything else. Open canned vegetables no longer have the has metal tag. Restored lighter and lighter disposable having more than 5 uses. Removed collision for player placed mouse traps. The Jawbone War Axe, when multi-hit is enabled, can strike 2 targets similar to the Fire Axe. The large bucket item no longer has the heavy item tag. Oh, okay. Ripping or cutting clothing, etc. takes 40% of the time they previously did. Ooh. Restored lighting candles and hurricane lanterns, also equipping them in the player's secondary hand. Adjusted crawler animations when attacking players so they flow better. Scale the inventory window and loot window image buttons to match the height of the text buttons. Craft recipes to open sealed fluid containers as open and can corner. Now uses the unseal input flag instead of on create code. The craft recipes for lighting candles and hurricane lanterns uses flags instead of on create code to activate. But okay, rebalance the yield from cutting up medium and small leather to be consistent with the yield from large leather. Added missing has metal tags for more items. Added craft recipe functionality for making the above 2 items. Added pop bottle rare to the valid inputs for the improvised gas mask recipe. Interesting. Crop farmer and livestock farmer renamed to farmer and rancher. Okay, cool. Renamed prescription reading glasses to item to reading glasses. Improved the prioritization evaluation of what body part to bandage. Configured race cars in NASCAR configuration. Updated metabolics and muscle strain for a few new timed action scripts related to drying racks. Added a minimum radius to foraging affinity checks. It now only triggers an affinity find once per chunk. It's an 8x8. It's an 8x8, isn't it? A chunk? That's a chunk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. 8x8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Is it 8 or 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's 8. Biome find related. Yeah, so it looks like they can't have. You can't have. It looks like you're not going to be able to find it. So you find 1 item per chunk. And if you find an item that's more than 20 tiles away from the last item, you get an XP bonus. I know. We're going to have to look at that. There's definitely a big foraging change, though. There's definitely a big foraging change. Where were we? Adjusted trigger for distance XP snapshot to occur when a marker arrow appears. Oh! Okay. Added reset for last spotted XY when player toggles search mode. Oh! Okay. Added old car parts and normal suspension parts to loot to... Old car parts and normal suspension parts to loot to junk loot tables. These spawn with a randomized condition. Added hops to wild plants loot. These spawn with a random amount of seeds of the time when collected. Added investigate area window controls to the back button menu for gamepad support. Reduce the size of print media and stash map icons in the in-game map when zooming out. Added missing assembly of garden forks to assemble along movement. Changed the display category of the watering can from gardening to water container. The improvised battery can be disassembled to recover the battery and the electrical wire in order to facilitate recovering electrical wire. Steel wool and aluminium can no longer be used to assemble an improvised battery. Now only electrical wire can be used. Right, okay. That sucks. There's a bit of... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, but added slight discomfort to firefighter jacket and pants. Now adding gasoline to a vehicle will take less time than siphoning the same amount of gasoline from a vehicle. Cap the survivor in horde chance to 15. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's probably why Passy was saying that he was getting a lot of survivor zombies. It probably wasn't capped, I'm guessing. Changed stick or branch to tree branch or wooden rod for the start fire with notched plank tooltip. No longer allowed cooked food to be cooked again. What? Clicking on a craft station will not open it if the destroy cursor is activated. Okay. Restored the possibility of characters spawning with trait or profession related keyrings. Nice. All police vehicles will have a ham radio. Changed wash all others text string to wash all bandages for washable bandages, rags, and strips. Blacklisted decrepit houses with doors from being survivor houses. Okay. Houses without doors from being survivor houses. Map items will now have the green checkmark icon for a player that has red. Oh no, okay, nice. Like books. Renamed muffin tray with muffins to item to plain muffins, and muffin tray with biscuits item to biscuits. Removed manual ingredients toggle for the build menu. A yield of pasta provided by opening a box of mac and cheese will be enough to create only one pot or pan of pasta instead of 6. Double-clicking on packs of hot dogs, hot buns, and hamburger buns will unpack them. Allow sew bear to accept item tag button instead of base button. Remove some old grass tiles. That means you can sew a bear. I didn't know you could sew a bear. But that means you can sew a bear now with a bone bead, right? Removed some old grass tiles. Removed world inventory fluid container options from right mouse button. They're still in the inventory. Why are they removing stuff from? Why are they they're removing right mouse button context stuff again? Because that means you won't be able to fill from a bucket anymore on the floor, or maybe it will. Maybe it will. Removed need to be learned in the craft recipe builder. For now, use the already existing need to be learned. Maybe you just double click it now. Well, we'll see. Remove some old updated leather item names. Tooltip for fluid containers now display calories, proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates for the current demand in the container, not per 100 ml. Added calorie and carb values for some fluids. Tooltips now display when there's 0. Walls no longer cut away when player aims or hovers over buildings. Walls no longer cut away when player aims or hovers over buildings. Okay. Buildings. Added sparklers to the pool of items that can spawn as clutter for the house party, kids' bedroom, and beach party stories, so they are less bottlenecked as pipe bomb ingredients. Excellent. Removed crushed limestone from the game. Huh. Steel manufacturing recipes now use limestone instead of crushed limestone. Removed crushed copper and iron ore from the game. Closed umbrellas have the same maximum condition value as open umbrellas. Added missing sharpness quality and sharpenable tag to handy knife and multi-tool. Ooh. Added missing sharpness quality for kitchen knives. Ooh. Edible liquids properties state how many calories character gains per container instead of per liter. Disabled animated endurance modal indicator until edge case issues can be addressed. Updated loot distribution. Sound effects. Spear crafting, wringing out wet clothes, container drawers, antique oven, fireplace, and barbecue. Renotion! Good morning, thank you for the 100 biddies. Legend, hello. Good morning, Legend. Someone's gonna work overtime adjusting their mods today. Well, I've been putting my mods together. The way I put my mods together is so that they are indeed manageable, right? From this perspective. Hammering, sound effects for campfire notch plank, la-di-da-di-da, new audio stuff, fixes, here we go. Fixes. Mad, my stream streak broke. Oh no, it didn't. Oh, dude. I'm sorry. I have something for you. Show chat. DM'd it to you. You will like it. It's Lego. Is it Lego? Is it Lego? Oh, my days, Renosian. Oh, my days. Look at this. Look at this. You actually did it. You actually got it, dude. Oh, my God, dude. Oh, my God. It's amazing. Whoops, slipped. Everywhere. Did you have the shuttle as well? Did you have the shuttle? Did you send the shuttle as well? Where is the shuttle pod? Damn it. Where's the shuttle? And the shuttle pod? Yeah, where is it? It's the body of a cat and the head of an enterprise. Beautiful. Beautiful. Glorious business, mate. Glorious. Fixed an angled-headed flashlight attached to an Alice belt allowing crafting and reading when facing any direction. To say you're welcome. Dude. Thank you for the pennies, dude. Oh, shit. There it is. And that's, oh, what's her name? The Bajoran. Oh, what's her name? Ro. Yeah, Ro Laren. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Dude, so good. Enterprise D. Enterprise D, amazing. Nice one, dude. How easy was it to put together? How easy was it to put together? Rip a red shirt. Fixed sleeping while holding a fishing rod, disabling fishing until rod is re-equipped. Walkie-talkies clipping into the ground, not being able to grab eggs from a coop with equipped items, weapons. Ragdolls ignoring stomps. Slicing small fish, modifying hunger value improperly, deleting map bin files in the load game UI not working. Input script does pass exception on drying racks. A performance drop when the player-made building code runs, when there are no player-made buildings in the current cell. Infinite maintenance XP using sharpened blade recipe. Physics hit reactions not being cleared. Animal traps not resetting the time an animal has been inside the trap when the next animal is trapped. There being both a room report and a coordinate report in some instances when right mouse button on a tile, right mouse context on a tile. Coordinates report should only appear when there's no room report. Improper model references for spiked left and right football pads of feedback character models. Missing where option for spiked football pads. Players being able to add ingredients into the involved ingredients recipe that are in containers that the player has walked away from after the list has been generated. Fixed the reported issue with unequipping forged copper, gold, or silver hurricane lanterns. Fixed missing hand raise indicator for jaw stabs with the carving fork weapon. Fixed being able to spam place animal traps. You can only do that in cheat mode in build cheat mode anyway. You can't do that although since they updated for multiplayer and now it's server side, you probably could be able to spam that now. But you couldn't do it in you could only do that when in build free mode. GWP so probably vanish within a few minutes of the sets going live. GWP so probably vanish within a few minutes of sets going live. I don't what's GWP, Madcoy? 14 hours, clever build techniques, only technique is the stand. Yeah, no technic core. You build star drive in halves, put together the nacelles, then the saucer, which starts like a facehugger. Me and my friend got 2 by mistake. Wait, what? Your friend got 2 by mistake? He bought 1 and he got sent 2? He's rich. He's rich. Yeah, you get the shuttle pod as a gift. He's rich then. Did he sell it? Oh, 2 shuttle pods by mistake. Oh, okay. Fixed an alleyway error in the forage system add item deaths while loading a game. Fixed nested blue combo washer dryer submenus. Turn on, turn off appearing in the sinks context menu when a washer dryer is nearby when using a controller. Fixed animal skeleton debug rendering not respecting animal scale. Some sprites using drawwood clothes. Loot window takes same type button ignores unwanted items. Sliced fish recipe not accepting knives. An exception when butchering a frog. An issue where a quick right click would both activate aiming stance and the content. Oh, thank God! Thank God! Oh, please, yes. Exceptions when a hand weapon's muzzle flash model is unspecified. Opening bottles of wine not working. Depth and mapping issues for multiple tiles and 3D models. Chunk mapping. Bowls with fluids in them cannot be used to make salads. Ripping clean clothing producing dirty rags. And ripping dirty clothing producing clean rags. Skill tooltips interfering with mouse wheel scrolling in the skills. Skill tooltips remaining visible after mouse wheel scrolling in the skills panel. Evolved recipe.get items can be used. Exception. The toxic effect of generators not being updated for player-made rooms as the roofs are added or removed. Being able to chop trees with a broken axe. Missing on-break functionality for hand axe old. Mechanics instead of electricity being used to evaluate whether a player should auto-learn generator recipe on loading a game. Chewy tobacco not having defined stress reduction. Not properly removing the crush or craft recipe. Fixed for the belt option. The character creator is not correctly taken into account. Issues with item name. Hot drink tea ceramic not having the item name as hot drink tea. Auto-learning generator, growing seasons and mechanics when gaining the relevant skill level, not taking the inventive trait into account and providing a +1 effective skill bonus. Oh, wow! So inventive will give you these. So these are learned when you get to level 10 of each one of them. So instead, with inventive, you get to level 9. That's pretty cool. That's a whole thousands of XP before. Fixed undesired behavior with adding all that can fit into fire tile objects. Fixed issues with removing mineral. Fixed Stardewing interactions for removing stumps and minerals not working. The rendering order of translucent objects and effects. The specific issue with drinking juice boxes placed in the world. Exception when a recipe completes in a crafting station that isn't currently loaded. Undesired behavior with fluid containers such as raw gas being able to pervade to the occupied seed. Undesired exploitable behavior with packing food seeds in packets. Yes. Infinite wheat seeds. Fixed undesired behavior with ISO world inventory item, fluid container items being falsely evaluated as sealed. For crash recipe interactions. Fix the open and drink QOL option not appearing for sealed fluid containers on all sides. Fix the infinite loop calculating the number of sheet ropes that can be added to the ground. Not being able to add sheet ropes that can extend into open air below ground levels. Fixed cap guns registering hits and producing bullet impact sounds in some instances. Fixed many mixing textures or models. Thrown traps that explode instantly, not playing their explosion sound. Fixed an error when queuing open or close curtains while eating. Refueling a vehicle from a gas pump not being cancelled by walking or running. Fixed inventory window and loot window container buttons disappearing temporarily after changing display options. Ha! Nice. Fixed for cap pistols not consuming ammo. Fixed cases where days fresh and totally rotten were the same amount. Fixed makeup, UI handling of different font sizes. Jarred produce rotting in 10 days. Endurance not recovering while sleeping. An error when double-clicking on non-illustrature items. Lit candles and hurricanes lanterns not providing light. Duplicate activate item calls in item drainable script generator.java from the previous commit to trunk. Some things for new item tags. Engines pull battery power immediately when starting up, assuming they have enough condition. Previously, they only pulled power for a few seconds after a successful start. Fixed eyeglasses rendering as icons instead of models on the ground. Fixed item body location errors with the character create all outfits option. Fixed an error with turning off flashlights outside of a player's inventory. Fixed melee targets for other split screen players being highlighted. Fixed a main screen.lure error when activating or deactivating a controller while in game. Fixed a lure error in is inventory pane using a controller. ISO battery charge is now consumed from generators. Get all the tag batteries from the car battery. The Y coordinate when rendering placeholder text. The player walking to an odd position when adding fluid to a fuel to a fireplace. Sometimes zombies, sometimes thumping on hoppable doors instead of climbing over. That's like fence gates. Annoying as fuck when they did that. Combat manager and target reticle mode being set for split screen players. Low quality knives not spawning embedded in zombies' left legs. Improper capitalization of craft station translation strings used for craft recipe requirements. Errors moving items to and from fanny packs after equipping them. Wall SC sprites blocking access to containers. Hey, Dane! That remove mineral deposits, context menu not appearing. Inconsistent behavior when wearing baseball hats and right-clicking and selecting a wear option versus double-clicking on the item to wear. Seats that have items spawn on them cannot be removed if the mechanics cheat is disabled and the spawn items are on them. Issues with the character profession class. Issues with the saved builds combo box in the character creation profession UI. Profession and trait errors in the is player stats UI. The game version button and world seed label not respecting the screen sizing. Is movable sprite to props error from placing street sprites such as popcorn make. The create tile function not evaluated chunk textures after placing objects. Being able to remove the rear windows without seats. Sandbox loot settings named custom. Not being able to split soup into a forged pot. In a forged pot into bowls. Not being able to insert or remove batteries from CD players. Error when equipping weapons while wearing an unstowed backpack sprayer. Oh, nice. Error because that basically this causes you to duplicate the backpack sprayer. Error when right-clicking on animals in trailers. An error when opening and eating. Bottom right div of handcraft window doesn't respond to gamepad buttons. Pathfinding failing when adding fuel to solid or solid trans fireplaces, including antique stone. Not being able to open individual boxes of mac and cheese. That was annoying. Issues with gun light battery removal. Insertion. RPG night survivor houses. Crafted jars being weightless. Guys, I need the toilet. I'll be right back. Sorry. I'm busted. One second. Also, I have a Facebook friend doing the Enterprise diorama. The saucer crashed on Viridian 3 from Star Trek Generations with shuttles landing terrestrial side. That's amazing, dude. That's amazing. Right, I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what the hell happened there. Fast learner, definitely. Right, where were we? Fast learner over brawler. Yeah, fast learner over brawler. Why not both? Both? Why not both? Right, where are we? Story tabletop clutter attempted to spawn non-existent items. Typo in the tooltip for nutritional sandbox option. Disassembled troughs continue to collect water. Handcraft window displays recipe does not match list selection after crafting. Character being able to exercise while seated. Again. Painted objects, signs glowing in the dark. Sealed liquid containers can be used in some contexts despite being sealed. Some tiles built facing the wrong direction. Randomized building errors with zombies disabled. Placing radios with the furniture tool displays sprite instead of 3D model. Before water shut off, placing rain collector above plumbed sink break that sinks fill. Oh, break the sinks fill. Right mouse button context menu. Crafting butcher cooked rat yields. Crafting butcher cooked rat yields uncooked rodent meat. Sealed liquid containers can be used in some contexts. The brazier tile is non-functional. Error appearing on line break. Generator's noid radius isn't reducing when surrounded by walls. Sidebar. Oh, so that is that actual thing. Ah. Sidebar. Oh, now it is. It wasn't. Now it is. Sidebar icons overlap the inventory window on Steam Deck. Recipe code on test over fire. Returning false near open flames if a secondary nearby fire source. Okay. Only being able to clean graffiti with petrol stored in gas cans or jerry cans. Not being able to reattach respirator filters to half-mask respirators. Quern mill hand-pressed recipes consuming uses of seeds instead of the whole seed. Okay. Missing IGUI container tile for survivor crate spawn slash maps. Favorited rags, bandages, not retaining favorited status upon cleaning, disinfecting. Cake preparation, not cooking without extra ingredients. Baking recipes, duplicating their baking pans and baking pans appearing when eating a raw cake. Craftsman metal crate being created mid-air. Aim penalty calculation for non-sighted shots. Fixed wine screw top being oversized and not aligned during drinkable animation. Empty text entry string in mod options prevents menu from loading. Mod option passing nil as a string parameter in the field is left empty. It will replace the string. Chunks in negative chords outside of map are corrupted on reload. Error when character jumps out of windows or over railings at height. Hazmat suits can't be activated in order to protect the player from dangerous cubes. SCBA can't be activated after removing and reattaching oxygen tank. Rags, bandages, strips no longer lose favorite assessment. Not being able to shoot animals. Every player benefiting from the expert trait, whether they started as a lumberjack or not. Oh. What does that mean? My guy looks like Rick Sanchez. Fixed. Changing the colorblind patterns option messes up the text rendering in the in-game map menu. Brochures flies appear empty for renders. Some tiles textures with bad alpha. Small, simple plant racks having wooden rods in the requirements. Freezer spawning food in looted buildings. Missing text for flyers, newspapers, and brochures. Omelette made in a forged pan displaying just the omelette whilst eating. Jackets having hoodie in the display name. Townhouse biome in 102 with zone trailer park. Muzzle flash not appearing in every frame. Old font still being available in game. Vehicle stories and zone stories spawning on water when map changes of water feature labeling. Some white space mixing of spaces, tabs in junk tables and resorted alphabetically. Vision tooltip panel in search window when unused event Sheep losing milk on quit. Missing debug context menu and polished a tad debug animal context menu. Error received when checking showcraft build recipes used in from an item's RMC. Code cleanup, updated GRE to Java 25, added back body location getter create string, which is needed by clothing mods, added cheat display in debug, watermark. The Linux version will use Wayland if available. This known as Zomboid. Added extra details to tile geometry buttons, changed script parser, added displaying the elements in da-da-da-da, la-da-da-da, QL improvements in the LUA's debugger objective viewer, fixed cursor blink, fixed LUA debugger, added function can stand as adjacent, added function can change, character stat. Oh my goodness, lots of code changes. Nothing about condition though. Nothing about weapon condition fixes. Unless they stealth fix that stuff. See, they added a lot, but have they fixed the weapon condition bug? Probably not. Ragdoll not available MP. No, it says multiplayer details right at the top. Disable debug and mods, even client ones. Disable ragdoll physics. Recommend only playing co-op or whitelist servers. Don't recommend more than 20 players. Pitfalls of the man I became. Right. We've backed up Norma. Let's just double check that we've got Columbus on backup as well. 5th of the 12th was the last time we played him. When was the last time he was loaded? Let's see. The 5th of the 12th. Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. Right. So let's rename Norma. Norma 2025 12/11. Here you are, Norma. Tomorrow starts tonight. Right, we're likely to get tons and tons and tons and tons of errors. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. We're going to open the debug log and we're going to wait. See what happens. Weapon condition bug is likely pushed to next hotfix. The contents of this patch were likely decided weeks ago. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they said, they said it was fixed. Twist said that they said it was fixed. Oh, that's an error. So what's the error? Come back home, home again. And we will come back home, and we will come back home. Home again, and we will come back home, and we will come back home. Home again. There we are, look. Body locations. Get a create location. It's the first error. Body location. Register. Test mode. Right, okay. So we need to register this. The lights